കാമൊലിയായി തിരകളിലേറി മലയാളത്തിൻ മൊഴിയൊഴുകും വഴിയും ഒരു കാമൊലിയായി തിരകളിലേറി മലയാളത്തിൻ മൊഴിയൊഴുകും വഴി പടരാം പവിഴക്കരയും താണ്ടി നാദരാഗമായി Radio Rang, color your life.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome to yet another episode of Journey So Far. Radio Rang started telecasting from Bahrain during the COVID times, and we have tried our best to keep you entertained. Journey So Far is the session when the residents of Bahrain share their beautiful memories about Bahrain. Today we have with us an eminent social worker, Mr. John Ipe. Actually, he is having a 47 years of residency in Bahrain. Can you tell us something about the time when you came to Bahrain? That was in 90s. How was the activities and all?
Sure. Well, first of all, good evening to Radio Rang and its associates. I'm very thankful to you all for being over here and spend some time with you. Thank you. And regarding your question, actually, Aji, I came to Bahrain 1973. I was working in Bombay before that. I was working in a company called Larsen & Toubro Limited. I had an appointment over here with a French company to work on Babco's low sulfur diesel project. That's called LSFO project. So I came here on the instrumentation division, and we have completed the project, and we just continued because the environment was okay. Couple of times I was thinking to go back to Larsen & Toubro, but many people's pressure was there to continue over here, so I just continued. And when you say about the activities, when I came over here, Bahrain was not like this. You know the Tylus Hotel in Manama, just east side of Naim Health Center? The sea was on that side, so just the north side of Tylus Hotel. And the rest of the development you can think of. And when you go to the east side, Gulf Hotel was the border of the sea. So that was the situation at that time, because the sanitation convenience, many inconveniences were there. So electricity was interrupting every now and then. I remember when I had the first child, we used to take a drive around because the night time electricity goes off. But when you think about those days and now, it's heaven now. Everything has changed. Bahrain has developed in such a way. That's exactly what we are seeing now.
Thank you, Mr. John. Actually, we are happy that there were a lot of Indians also who contributed to the growth.
Sure.
I know you from the time you were an employee of Consip Al Ali.
Correct.
And now I think you are owning a company.
That's right.
Can you tell something about your career so far?
Actually, as I told you earlier, I came to a French company called Consip Enterprise, and they were under Ahmed Mansour Ali's sponsorship. But later it became like a partnership, and I continued with them from 1973 until 2014.
It's a long term.
Yeah, because one company, and the reason was I was involved all the development of Babco since 1973. Actually, I was a project manager and a construction manager for various projects in Babco, especially instrumentation and electrics. So I was very happy, and Babco were very happy, and their people were very happy. So I just continued.
That is about your career.
Yes.
I came to know you personally more during your tenure as Kerala Samajam president. And I know the new building was started, the construction or the stone laying was during your tenure.
Yeah.
Can you tell something about that?
Actually, Aji, I was mainly only focused on church activities. Suddenly, it's a long story behind it, but it will take you a long time, so I'm not telling. Accidentally or luckily, I became the president of Baharin Kerala Samajam. Probably there was nobody opposing for it. We were unanimously
Elected.
And there was a building committee thinking about making a new Samajam premises. And the previous committees were there. They found many lands, but unfortunately none of them were ready to sign the contract and just went on. So when I became the president, I'm happy to say Mr. V.K. Thomas, the advocate, he came to me along with the building committee members that there is a place in Segeya. Actually, this place was not meant for Samajam. This place was being arranged for Baharin Marthomai Church. They have prepared the plan. Everything was laid in. The church, the parsonage, everything was ready. But unfortunately, they had some differences of opinion, and with the high regards, I must say, Mr. M.D. Matthews was the overall in charge. So he got really fed up. He said, look, I spent a lot of money on it. Doesn't matter. Somehow, I think this project is not going to go on because the church people are not very positive. So if you give a portion of the amount which I spent, we will give you with the permission, the drawings, the whole lot.
Okay.
Which was a very good deal actually. So Mr. Radhakrishnan was the building committee chairman, and there was a lot of prominent members on it. With this agreement and permission, we have made a contract.
So do you mean the plan was for the church converted to Samajam?
Exactly, the plan was purely for the church, and the stage was supposed to be the Madbaha.
Oh, the altar was the stage?
Exactly.
Oh, I never knew that story.
Yeah.
I know the place was earmarked for church and later it came to you, but I never knew the plan was also adopted.
No, the plan is still, the plan was, because you can't change the plan, it was all approved. And we did definitely a lot of modifications, extended the building, and we got additional permission for it. But that was the stage. So immediately we could, that place was really, like shambles. So we had to clean. People were there to help us. And I was lucky enough to be the part of the stone laying ceremony. Excellency Mitra was the ambassador of India, and we were happily conducted it, and I'm really proud because I could be the part of it. My predecessors many times they tried, they couldn't achieve it. It's not my the credit or anything, but I was lucky enough to be the part of it.
So we can't accept your terms. It was accident. It was some purpose was there.
Probably
God has put you from the church to the Samajam, maybe for this thing to go ahead. The building committee needed a push, which you were ready to give.
Exactly. Because the system is, whatever you do for the Samajam, the president has to sign the contract.
Okay.
So, Mr. P.V. Radhakrishnan was very positive, and with their permission, we just executed it.
That is a good news. We got the biggest expatriate club in Bahrain. We will go for a short break and then come back.
ഒഴുകാമൊലിയായി തിരകളിലേറി മലയാളത്തിൻ മൊഴിയൊഴുകും വഴിയും ഒഴുകാമൊലിയായി തിരകളിലേറി മലയാളത്തിൻ മൊഴിയൊഴുകും വഴി പടരാം പവിഴക്കരയും താണ്ടി നാദരാഗമായി റേഡിയോ color your life.
Welcome back. It is Mr. John Ipe with us. Mr. John, you had a long association with CCIA, the Coordination Committee of Indian Associations. Can you tell us something about CCIA and its activities?
Sure. CCIA is Coordination Committee of Indian Associations. At that time, it was consisting around 108 associations. When I was the president of Baharin Kerala Samajam, from the Indian Embassy we got a message saying that I have to take up the position as a General Secretary as CCIA. So I have accepted it. So it made me an opening towards meeting a lot of associations and people. And CCIA very soon, after 1 year, the embassy or they have selected or election, I can't, me as a chairman of CCIA. As a chairman of CCIA was a real good opening, of course. The Baharin Kerala Samajam has given me some sort of a courage to be with the people, and CCIA has given me a vast exposure to the public. And every CCIA meetings, you can imagine every inaugural function in 1 year, 108 clubs, every inaugurations they used to, if they call, first of all they will invite Indian ambassador. Second chance, luckily I used to get it. So at a time we were everywhere at a time. And we very often used to tell people, having more association is good, because you know, for example, people at Trivandrum is different than people at Kozhikode. So the people, if it's a Kozhikode association is there, they are very well known about the people over there and they can help them a lot. And Ambassador Balakrishna Shetty was very supportive for having any amount of association. He says this is a good chance so that you can deal with a lot of people and you can find out their problems and we can solve it. So it was a good platform for me to know about Kerala as associations. Not only Malayali associations, Bengali associations, Maharashtra club, Bangalore, the whole state. It was altogether 108 associations were there. Out of that, 34 or 35 were registered. The others were not registered, but it came under Indian Embassy.
Okay.
That was the position for me as a chairman for all the coordination committee of Indian associations. It was an excellent platform for meeting people and helping people.
And I believe you were an active member of Mavelikara Association as well as the biggest expat organization, Samajam. So you had a good exposure and you could do much for the CCIA.
Exactly. See, as I told you, associations are very good to know about your own people in your own village. They can come freely to you, they can ask you various helps if they want, and we know them much better than anybody else. So in my opinion, we must have more and more associations. You must they will be having a get-together, there will be family get-togethers, and that will keep you alive, that's something in the COVID are missing.
We wish a post-COVID time when all these get-togethers, associations are active and lively.
Exactly, that's what I think.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, I know you were part of two major constructions happening in Bahrain. One was the St. Mary's Orthodox Church and the other one was the Kerala Samajam. What was your experience having these expat buildings, or the buildings mainly for the expats being constructed in Bahrain? How was the response of the authorities, people?
When you talk about construction of two buildings, that's not true actually. I was involved, luckily, by the church members to be the convener of our Orthodox Syrian Church building. So I was really lucky enough, it's a key position to be as a convener in a holy place. So I have successfully completed that. But when I came to Baharin Kerala Samajam, I had only the opportunity to participate in foundation stone laying only.
Oh,
Then
okay.
it took a long time. It took a couple of years to complete the project because it was a massive project.
The money
and it was
was-
conducted by the next committee and the next committee. Several committee has gone through.
But I believe the ambassadors were giving good support.
Yeah.
The business people were supporting it.
Exactly. I mean, Ajay, one good thing I should say, I was lucky enough to be with 4 ambassadors.
Oh,
One was Bhaskar Kumar Mitra, very strict, but very friendly and compassionate. The second was Mr. Balakrishna Shetty. He was like an elder brother to me. I can go and meet him anytime. He used to tell me, John, if you come to the embassy, don't go without seeing me. That much. And he
Closeness
was a
was
true
there.
patriot. And he has elevated the Indian
Community.
community's morale. You know, I mean, he always speak about Indians. And that has given a very good boost for Indians, you know, as if they feel that we have
We have
somebody
somebody,
to protect us. And the third was Dr. George Joseph. Believe me, he was a godly person. One day I told Excellency, this position is not suitable for you. You would have been a good priest. So compassionate, so loving, so caring. You know, he was not, physically he was not 100% fit. But still, if he get a call from the labor camp, he will tell Mr. Salim, come on Salim, take your car, let us go and visit them. And he was the one who has, the Spectra has been, it is
started
his
at
child.
that time.
So
Because
he was-
Roslyn, I had an interview with Roslyn.
Ah.
She was mentioning about this person, this ambassador.
Yeah. Roslyn was my team member.
Ah, okay.
And that was a good opportunity. And the 4th ambassador was Dr. Mohan Kumar. Mohan Kumar, a good speaker, an excellent advisor. And you know, he won't miss anything. He just, John, this would have been better in this way, which will give us a good help. And the other good thing was, during CCIA or ICRF meetings, definitely ambassador will be there.
Oh,
That has given a very good boost for us, you know. I mean, people will understand, look, it is under the embassy and the supreme power of the embassy is taking care of it. That has also given me a lot of leverage. That was an excellent time, I should say, an excellent time.
it is really wonderful to have worked with 4 ambassadors in a row. You have a lot of memories as a treasure, I believe. John.
Sure.
The other thing was LMRA, Labour Market Regulatory Authority. This was also not at the time when you came, but now it is here in Bahrain. What is you were associated with that also?
Yeah. LMRA, initially when the LMRA started, I was the ICRF chairman.
Okay.
And the first chief executive was Mr. Ali Radi. As luckily, we were very friendly. The reason was, before LMRA was formed, I had a good association with the labor departments. The reason, because I was so much involved with the labor problems, labor department used to call me and said, John, there's an incident there. Could you please go and convince them? Because I can talk to in my mother tongue. I can speak Hindi. And this has given me a lot of good relationship with the labor departments. Over and above, the chance was, I think in 2005 or 2006, I can't remember, there was an incident in Salamabad. A company who had 1,300 employees has been broken. That means they lay off the people without any salary, and this has come to embassy's notice. And His Excellency Bhaskar Kumar Mitra was the ambassador, and he was lucky enough to have good interaction with the Prime Minister. And he has given me a full support for helping these guys. So, with the help of embassy and with the help of various companies in Bahrain, we could give employment for nearly 800 people.
Out of 1,000.
Exactly. In fact, they have given me an authority through the labor department, a release letter. Any employee the embassy has entrusted me, John, you can sign it, and we have no objection, because it's 800 people, embassy staffs cannot be there, and the team were very, very cooperative with me. So I had more and more chances to be involved in the labor departments. Because I had some of the labor department employees were transferred to LMRA. So I had an access to LMRA also, similarly. So one of them was Mr. Ali Radi. And in fact, the CPR, when it was introduced with the photos, many people were not coming and taking photographs in the LMRA. So Mr. Ali Radi one day called me and said, John, how to attract Indians to LMRA office? So I told him, number one is you can have a cultural show, free cultural show. That is one chance. And I told him I can arrange a magic show which will be a very good attraction for Indians. And he said, go ahead. So I brought Mr. Samraj, magician. He came to LMRA office, and Indian associations have conducted a lot of cultural programs. And at that particular day itself, it was something like 8,000 people has been enrolled.
Oh, that was a
And
good
that has even more elevated my friendship with him. And we had lots of such associations with them.
What do you think? LMRA is doing something really good for the expats? Because when it was introduced, people were a bit hesitant.
Yeah, because on those days, there were lots of free visa people, they were afraid. And if LMRA is going to come, everything will be in the systematic. Actually, LMRA is doing a wonderful job. I can tell you incidents. During my tenure, like an ICRF chairman, I had many, many incidents of labor problems. Lots of people, suicide cases were high. The reason was, people has been brought into Bahrain with high expectations. And when they come over here, then only they realize they are in a trap. So the demand from the home, that the guy has gone to Bahrain, so very soon they are thinking this is a place with gold, on the floor. So very soon they will be sending gold and money over there. And this poor guy has no proper accommodation, no proper job. Some of the people were having good jobs in India, but when they come over here, they have been forced to do a very labor jobs, which has made them a lot of frustration in their heart, and many suicide cases were there. And I can tell you one example. One day I got a call from one of our ICRF members saying that there was a suicide in a village near Malchia. Immediately, when I was lucky enough, I had good freedom to move around from my office. So immediately I went from my office to that location. By the time police has come in and the body has taken to Salmania. Then when I have inquired, I came to know that this particular person came from a place called from our place, Trivandrum, and he came here as a driver because he had good expectation that he can be a driver in Bahrain, because in Kerala he was a driver. And the poor guy had 2 daughters and the wife, and he was the only breadwinner. But the condition he brought in over here was, if you come to Bahrain, if you have your driving license, then only you will get your salary.
Oh, okay.
So naturally 3, 4, 5 months passed. He went for 3 tests. He failed for all the 3 tests. And he got call from home. Daddy or father, we need some money to go to school. And his relative, he was staying with a relative. He was telling he was completely shattered. He has no money to send. He has no job. And one good morning, when everybody went for their work, he hanged himself on a fan.
You mean he's a victim of this free visa, or?
He is not a victim of the free visa. He is a victim of not having proper documentation when they come in. The LMRA is not allowing you to do that now.
Yes.
Those days you can just arrange a visa and come in without any proper labor contract. Now you cannot bring people like that because you are bound to pay them.
So LMRA has cleansed the situation.
Exactly. LMRA has cleansed the situation and made it much better. And I can tell you another heartbreaking experience. I got a phone call in the midnight saying that a man is trapped in one of the building. It was about midnight, and the village I don't want to name the village, but it was too far from Manama, and we were unable to take a private car over there because I'm talking about 80s. The places were not that much developed. I mean, not 80s, it is early 2000, sorry. So I called first of all Indian Embassy. Luckily, the first secretary at that time was Mr. Raghunathan. He came with embassy car.
Okay, so
And he picked me and we went to the location. We went to the location, we went there as per the information given, and it was too dark. You cannot know. There are a few buildings but nobody around. So we said it's dangerous to be there. We went back to the nearest police station. We went there. And with the police help, we came again to the location. Knocking all the shops and building, anybody is trapped, but no noise. Luckily, on the side of the shop, there was a phone number written. And the police noticed it and said, let us try this number. Somebody will come. And the police, or I think Mr. Raghunathan has dialed the number. Within 15 minutes, a person came in. And we have explained the situation, and we opened the shutter. He managed the key, I don't know how. He opened the shutter. A poor Indian man, I think I can't remember, he's from Madras. He has been tied in to a pillar in the shop with a chain and no AC. It was summertime, no AC. A small bottle of water is kept nearby and that was empty. And a small round bread was there, but just dry, he has not touched it. And the guy was, breathing, I'm sure that if he was there for the remaining hours in the night, maybe morning you will see a dead body. We immediately intervened to it. We cut the chain because there's nothing else in the night. We cut the chain with the help of police, took him to the police station. Then we realized 3 persons came from Chennai. After that, when they came here, they found the situation was not very comfortable. 2 of them escaped.
Oh.
And the 3rd person was there. They told him, look, if you don't bring the other 2, you know where they are. If you don't bring them back, I will not leave you. That is how he ended up in
being in the lock.
But luckily, the embassy has informed the authorities, and the sponsor has been fined, and we could very well release him for his work. And again, I'm telling you, because those days people could come in without any proper contracts. So those sort of areas, we could help people.
Oh, that is good news. LMRA, how it is helping to cleanse the labor market.
It is.
Now
really.
we will go for a short break and come back. We have more to hear from you, sir.
Thank you.
ഒഴുകാമൊലിയായി തിരകളിലേറി മലയാളത്തിൻ മൊഴിയൊഴുകും വഴി ഒഴുകാമൊലിയായി തിരകളിലേറി മലയാളത്തിൻ മൊഴിയൊഴുകും വഴി പടരാം പവിഴക്കരയും താണ്ടി Radio Rang, color your life.
Welcome back to Journey So Far. We are with Mr. John Ipe. During your tenure with ICRF and the long life in Bahrain, there may be some unforgettable incidents, I am sure. Can you share some of that with us?
Aji, there are, several unforgettable incidents. And probably you need 3-4 days for me to have an interview with you. But I can tell you, mainly The one was the Aldana boat tragedy.
Oh, I remember.
I think it
that.
is 2006, I believe. 58 people were dead. Out of that, 22 were Indians. You know, it was a project party for achieving certain
Level of construction.
And they were enjoying. Unfortunately, 22 Indians died, and we were. There was not enough mortuaries to keep 58 bodies in Bahrain. And luckily, with the intervention of Indian Embassy, with the help of embassy officials and excellent social workers, I still remember, Zubair Kanur and all, cleaned all the bodies. We arranged to send all the bodies to India. And enormous work, I mean, when you think about those incidents, even now you feel really shivering. And the other incident was the Royal Tower fire in Gudebia. 15 labourers died. We were immediately at the incident. In fact, at that time also, Excellency Balaji Shetty was the ambassador, and our Prime Minister, then Prime Minister, came on site. He had a chat with Excellencies, and we were nearby. And we went to the accommodation. Each room we had 10, 12 guys, and their old clothes were just hanging on the wall itself. And they were cooking at the bottom of the staircase. So you can imagine the chances are getting fire. I think this fire happened through extension board. And with the clothes and so on, it has elevated and killed the 15 people. Just imagine, a tragedy. 15 breadwinners. It's not people. 15 families. 15 breadwinners. Those incidents are all unforgettable. Unforgettable. There are several, many fires in various camps, because in those days the winter was a bit more tough. When the winter comes, they keep an ordinary heater. This ordinary heater will kill the oxygen in the room if it is not properly ventilated. People will never know, there is not enough oxygen. Early morning you will see people are dead. So we always in those days insist, if you are using that exposed element, you must keep a bucket full of water in the room. So the water can evaporate and the oxygen content can come in. And there were several incidents. And labor problems were severe. And even Indians were cheating Indians. There was an incident, one Indian man had been called to Indian Embassy. The reason, he brought 10 poor Indian workers from India with false promises. He has collected nearly 1 lakh rupees from them in India. He brought this as a capital. He started a sort of company by bluffing one of the good sponsor. They said, I'll make you money and so on. He got some small jobs which he could achieve it. And from day one onwards, the poor guys were kept in a small shed, no AC, no money to spend for food, their food, and they all came to the Indian Embassy, 10 guys. This has been cheated by our own people. Then embassy and the ICRF has helped them to go back, and some of them got a job in here itself. And heartbreaking stories are a lot.
But it is nice to know you have good words about the Indian Embassy and the ambassadors.
Excellent cooperation from them. But I mean, this is the head, if the head is straight, then the rest will,
fall.
Okay. I mean, I had an excellent experience with all, as I told you earlier, with the 4 ambassadors. And I was, I don't go for unwanted recommendations or anything. Probably that is why they have accepted me. And I had very good relationship with them.
So you were telling us some shocking experiences. Can you share some beautiful experience you had in Bahrain?
There are a lot of beautiful experience also. That beauty I came to know later, because with your knowledge and influence, you could guide people.
Oh, that is.
Some people, they immediately lost their job, John. What shall I do? Or the sponsor. In one incident, as really, I was so happy. One person came to my home actually through somebody. The reason was he was in Bahrain for last 12 years. He wanted to go back to India for his daughter's marriage. And unfortunately to say that, his boss was an Indian. He was a heavy truck driver. And he was consistently telling them, look, I want to go, this is my
Only daughter's
only
marriage.
daughter, this is my life, I have to be there. And what was happening, this supervisor was telling me, you cannot go now. Because the sponsor said, if you go now, you will lose your job. So this poor guy really was weeping. He came through one of my friends. Luckily, when I went back to the office, he has given me the names and address of this particular person. I called him, I remember his name, Ali Yusuf or something. I told him, Mr. Yusuf, how are you? I have a problem to tell you. One of your employee came to me with so and so reasons, and Indians comes over here for their children, and it is a marriage time for his daughter. He would like to go back to India. Last 12 years he has not gone to India. And this guy was surprised. He said, 12 years you didn't go? I said, he didn't go for last 12 years. Could you please send him to me? But I was afraid because I had some bad experience by sending people directly to them. Through one of the ICRF volunteer, I sent this person. He was stand by. I think his name is still remember, George Varghese. He went to his sponsor. The sponsor asked him, why you didn't go? And he called his supervisor. I said, 12 years, why you didn't send him on holiday? Because this guy doesn't know what is happening. And believe or not, he has given the 12 years leave salary, and he paid 100 BD as a gift for his daughter's marriage. And unbelievable, this guy next, I think 2-3 days back, he came to me and he wanted to, grab my feet. I said, he was senior to me, I said, please don't do that. His happiness, you should see, 12 months salary, 12 years leave salary, plus 100 BD, he could even never dream about it, and tickets ready. So just imagine what sort of happiness you will have, a person who comes back, I had several incidents, people comes back to you and said, sir, do you remember me? On so and so days, because of this, I became like, those are all happy moments.
That's of course beautiful
Definitely.
memories. When you are
Good
back
memory.
in Kerala also, you can think of these.
Oh, even I
and
met
you can be
people in
proud.
Kerala also. They, when they see me, oh sir, you remember? I don't remember many of them, but I had excellent memory. And
Can you tell
I
something
enjoy.
about your beautiful family here? This is all social life.
Ajay, you know me but more than anybody else. And your husband Joshua was my mate as a vice president of
Samajam.
Samajam. Same like you, I have 2 daughters. The elder one is a dental doctor, and he got married with another dental doctor. They are happily living in my native place called Maveligara.
I remember having the sweets for the birth of their second child.
Probably, yes. And the elder granddaughter studies in 10th standard. The younger granddaughter studies in 7th standard. By the grace of God, they are having a happy life. My second daughter, she has taken a postgraduate degree from UK and got married. And she is in Bahrain. Her husband is working in Saudi Arabia for an American company. And she is also, a part-time employment is there for her also to spend some time, because she always say she has a son, and she wants to spend most of the time with the son. So I arranged a part-time work for her, and she is happy with it. And luckily, they are staying in Bahrain. Now, my situation is I just stay 6 months in Kerala and 3 months in Bahrain. That was my situation. So I'm lucky enough to stay with my daughter when I come back to Bahrain. So that is my situation. And my wife Susan, she was a staff nurse in Salmania Hospital, and then she became the supervisor in Salmania, and then she was lucky enough to work a few years in Awali Hospital. And we are leading a happy retirement life. And coming to Bahrain and seeing you all giving me a more, much more strength and happiness to be with you. Same like Rajiv Alikoth, I know him since he is in Bahrain, and you are all team members, I know very well. Now I am not, so active because most of the time I am in Kerala, and by the grace, I'm just trying to enjoy my retirement life.
Thank you so much, John Naib, for sharing these beautiful memories with us. We wish you a very happy, I won't say retired, a different kind of, I think you can't stay or enjoy a retired life. You will be in social work in Kerala also. We wish you all good luck in your life.
Thank you, Raji. Thank you, the team. But I also, and as you said, I don't have a retired life. I still prefer to work with the community. I still have time to spend with the poor and needy, and I listen to the poor as and when, if possible, in my level, I used to help them, because I believe that's the only reward you will get from heaven. So I truly believe in that. I tried to be a good boy. And once again, thank you very much, and wish you a pleasant, healthy new year for the whole team. And I wish Radio Rang the best. Let the Radio Rang be a super duper broadcasting facility in Bahrain. Wish Radio Rang and the family very well. Once again, thank you all. Thank you all my listeners. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.